Okay, my washer's spinning in the background, so if you hear extra noise, it's only got like 9 or 10 minutes left. It's 4:30, and I don't know, last time was just weird. And I guess yesterday there was all this talk because there was this huge solar flare. Like the people who watch the solar flares are like really, there's a lot going on. And it's on all different levels of how people talked about it. The same with that movie, same with everything. Everything is all different levels. Like everyone you talk to, you can get a little bit different perspective. And that's how I think that we need to start looking at things, you know, is every time that you talk to somebody, it's an opportunity to see something you didn't see before. But I think we all get caught up in trying to get the people to see what we see, especially for those of us who are awake. But I know that what they are missing is a part of what they're here to experience. Like it's going to be profound effect on them. And man, like one of my daughters, she was the one who, she was the most similar to me. She was Miss Go-Getter, workaholic, shopped, always dressed really nice, go-go kind of person. And then it's hard for a lot of people to keep, I can witness this, and it gives me a new perspective. Like I said, it's an opportunity as you age and get these new perspective, these new experiences through perspective. And so when I watch her, I can see what I was like, and then it's always like, oh man, I don't want her, but it's not my lessons. I got to learn mine, so it's not really my place. And all I've done when I've tried to tell her, like, it's not good to be a shopaholic. It's not good to work so much, is make her feel bad, like she's doing something wrong. And the last few years, her life has just been she has a lot of these. And I think that interferes with something, they're always trying to create an interference in the blood-brain barrier. Now I'm seeing a lot of talk on that. I just saw a video that was talking about, I think it's in New Zealand now, that they're going to put folic acid in the flour. You can't buy flour anymore with folic acid. Somebody was explaining about folic acid, and we have folic acid in all our stuff, and how toxic it is and how hard it is for our bodies to break down. And it causes all things like ADD, ADHD, depression, all these emotional interferences. See, that's what they're always doing. That when you think people can't think straight and stuff, it's because they've given them all this stuff to create that. They're trying to create mindless people who are hopeless, who just do what they're told. And they're trying all different ways. Well, let's try a little of this, a little of that, let's do over there. That's what they're fucking always doing. We're a giant experiment. And I've known that since I was a little kid. I mean, that, my higher self, or whoever people think I'm talking to, whatever, it told me that, when I was a little kid. It told me that we were in a science experiment, that we were this big lab, and we were being watched all the time. Like, I've known all that stuff the whole time. And then I tried to tell people, and people thought I was crazy. What's something else, too, is now I see all these people hanging on these little kids' words that say something different. And all these people are hanging on their every word. Share this, it's profound. And we have got a little profit here. It's like, dude, is y'all as the receivers, because there was some of us who were saying this shit all the time, and everybody turned their backs on us. Now everybody's like looking for answers. Oh, where's their answers? Where's our answers? This one little girl who is in that profit range, the little blue avian girl, she was saying something the other day that I thought, I think it's like there's an overall general, when you're tapped into the universal consciousness at a certain vibration, the information that they are trying to put out is a certain information. So we're all sharing like the same kind of information. But her mom is like a spiritual, I don't know, she probably was like a super spirit, because spirituality just went off on a wrong direction, where it just, I don't know, I got infiltrated and directed or, you know, because they got to make sure people don't really get a connection. They're chasing their tails, you know, and the veganism fits right in with their other bullshit, which creates a division. Well, you don't need to eat meat anyways. Well, I like meat. Well, it doesn't matter. You're hurting the planet. It's like, well, if I go have a farm and I raise my own fucking cow and not go in the grocery store and you're living off DoorDash, who's the fucking one hurting the planet? So, you know, it's just that they don't stop and think. It's all a created narrative. And that's why when you even try to get people to explain things further, they just get frustrated and angry because, you know, they didn't get that part of the script. They're on a program. They're running a program. And you can see right now how everybody's running programs. Like, oh, everybody's running the holiday program or the... you know, I swear to God, the one with so many people sit and argue over two sides of a battle that they don't even know anything about. And they'll sit there and argue and argue. See, they're creating this civil war. And they've got some of these people marching in the streets. They've got it all set for whatever, you know. I mean, at this point, they could start, you know, like a group goes to do a protest, and it just so happens that car bombs go off, you know, like they'll bring their same stuff over here, you know, a car bomb go drive right through a restaurant. They'll do the same kind of stuff because all we did was, you know, open their space up for them to continue their battles. And then we tried to go in and pick sides. Well, I'm with you. Well, what about that doesn't make sense? Well, I'm with you then. Well, it's like we need to all come together and see that we're fighting the TERRORISTs. That they're the super soldiers of these people. The people who really don't have compassion, really are mindless, really, I mean, will do anything for some amount of money, or it's all different things. Because what was that one that I saw? It was a famous person, and it was something, might have been a rapper or something. Something, I don't know, I can't see it clear enough, but I just keep seeing these same kind of stories that, you know, like people go and sign on and they don't really know what they're signing on for, and they're used. And then if you go against them, if you don't do what you're told, then you know, they'll wipe out your people you care about. So yeah, and then, you know, they can destroy you. So it's all a whole thing. And I just saw somebody talking about it. Maybe it was McAfee. He's gone against them. And I guess Assange, he's being tortured all the time. Now there's a new thing passing that's going to, if this goes through, it's going to release everybody from the 1-6. And because they've been holding them all illegally. So something's going to pass. See, that's what's going to keep being. This legislature keeps passing. And like with the debt and stuff. But see, people don't know. You have to be really listening. Like, you have to be tuned into one side. And people are so tuned into the side they're scared of. And that's why, you know, I say there's some of these people saying stuff, but they're just like so unaware because they're just like on this hamster wheel of what they're scared of. They just keep going round and round and round and round. But it's necessary because it brings the message forward. It's not like they're doing something wrong, but when it gets to the other side, they're going to feel the impact of that. Like when the lights come on, they're going to feel a huge impact by their choices. And people are going to feel a lot more embarrassed that they were disconnected from themselves. Like it's going to be, you know, something people have to get over. It's going to be hard on people. Because just look at how the ego is about it. When the people do connect to self, they go into, you know, that they're the magnificent beings, they're chosen, they're all this stuff that they come up with. And, you know, everybody's chosen. Once you choose yourself, you're chosen. You just got to choose you. And sometimes it's just like, I have no idea where I'm going. Like, I'm just like following the words and the images and stuff. It's like it comes flashing in. So I'm going back towards this other thing I was talking about is with my daughter. Is one of my daughters, the one daughter who told me the other day, you know, because she didn't appreciate my boundaries, or just, you know, I'm trying to force my opinions on people and I get mad if they won't listen. And that's against her boundaries, especially because it's all just doom and gloom and negativity. Because this is part of the super spiritual thing. It's just, you know, bury your head in the sand, and anybody who brings you down is toxic. Everything that they talk about is toxic. Awareness is toxic. Taking responsibility for yourself is toxic. You don't even want to look at those sides of yourself. So, see, it's going to be hard for a lot of people when that happens, because they're not going to be able to not see it. And then they're going to, you know, question themselves. Because it all has to do with this ego work. And ego work is hard stuff. Because it's like your connection to your soul. It's like the in-between. It kind of is like the Wi-Fi carrier or something, your internet or something. And so, you know, and everybody's got these disconnects that everybody's got to work on. And I know with her, because I'll talk about the one daughter who's really struggling hard is, I'll talk to her about some spiritual stuff. And she has these, and it just really like confuses her or something. To finish saying about the other daughter, because I know, you know, she's not saying anything to me. And I've got a lot going on, so I haven't been, you know, saying anything. It's like, I'm not mad. It's just like, I'm not going to sit and I'm not going to sit in conversations where somebody's just making fun of me, or telling me that I can't have my own opinion. I'm not going to just sit there. It's a one-sided conversation. When one of the people isn't allowed to talk, it's like, I'm not going to just sit and be lectured about what you think, especially to me, it's so three-dimensional. It's like not even thinking outside the box. It's not even looking towards what's real. And I know that overwhelms so many people when they talk to me, and they think, oh, it's her beliefs. It's just so weird. And then I go hear all these people talking, and they're all saying all this stuff. Well, this is really what's going to happen. I know this is what's going to happen. This is it. This is what's going to happen. It's like, I don't argue with anybody. It's like, I have, you know, been seeing, like, I don't know. I feel like I've been connected to this other side. This is a long-term relationship. This isn't something I just woke up to. This isn't, you know, me and Lucifer, no, or an intimate, and that lady is losing her damn mind. It's really getting kind of creepy, honestly. I mean, once she's gone into now this intimacy with him, and he abuses her, you would have to go in and watch all her videos. It's the strangest thing. And she, and what's really weird is, like, I'm pretty sure hers started with her weight loss. And so she was, you know, a large girl, and she was doing her weight loss thing on the internet. And so she had all these people who were cheering her on, who were doing their own, you know, so they're all bonding on this, trying to be healthier and whatever. And I think stuff started happening, and she has this, you know, a thick accent. She's up in the Appalachians, so she's got this thick accent, and she talks real loud, and so she's funny, and she says funny stuff all the time. And so I think that she started getting a bunch of people following her, because she started saying some of her opinions about stuff that was going on. And so I think then she started having some weight loss people, and then some people who were interested in her opinion through the madness that's been going on. But then she started going off. There was like a wave came in with the spirituality thing, and it kind of like started breaking it down more, where people started looking around and saying, this doesn't make sense. So there started being friction in like the spiritual community. And but there was a wave of people coming in. There was a wave of people who were looking at it instead of religion. There was like a big shift happening. If you're standing back watching it, depends on where you are in the shift. If you're right in the middle of it, you just you know, you feel it in a different way than when you're sitting back and watching some of this stuff occur. And so that's when I've been able to start seeing like patterns and stuff too. It's just a lot of stuff I've been able to see from being able to step back and be in observation of a lot of this stuff. That doesn't mean I don't go through my own stuff. I'm going through something huge right now, huge, very transformative to myself. And and it's crazy because when that kind of stuff, then these tarot things will pop up and it'll say, just like that, that's where I'll get real caught up. And it is like, I don't need to make this stuff fit, because it's like they're talking in my head and then talking out loud as a confirmation. And so, you know, but there was all this trickster energy. Like this lady's getting, what's her name? I think it's Honey something. But once she started getting to a certain weight, which I don't know what her weight is, I didn't follow all that journey. She started popping up on some of her stuff about her opinion. I think because that's the algorithm I'm in, because I'm always giving my opinion. And so she got into my algorithm or something. And but then I started seeing more stuff where she was talking about the spiritual stuff. And then that seemed to be bothering one set of her group of friends. So then she started responding to them. And then she started shifting, and then she was going towards religion. She kept talking about religion. There was a few people. They went into like some kind of religious psychosis. Like one guy was saying he was the he was Jesus. Kept saying he's Jesus. It's like, you can be tapped into his energy. You guys that got, like, it's trippy. And like Jesus wouldn't come back and be Jesus again. Like it is more of, and the stuff with the Bible and Jesus is so jacked up. Like, it's hard to even say anything from that stuff. It's like they took these other stories and goes, well, we're going to have to control these ones over here in this country with something. You know, let's come up with this. And let's have the Catholics, you know. And then I don't even know, because they had the Geneva Bible. It said one thing. And then King James, he changed it. And there's weird shit with the Catholics. And there's a lot of weird shit where it's like, I don't even know how anyone gives that fucking book anything but fiction. Even if some of the stories are real, it's been, you know, they've changed it. They're not telling all this stuff. You gotta go back to like scrolls. You gotta go back to more original writings if you're trying to see what something was like in the past. But then people keep trying to put it together in a linear fashion. Well, this happened at this time, this happened this time, well, before Christ, after he died, this, and it's like, now they just found something else. Is it fish or something? They just found something. No, it was a burial ground. The burial ground that, because it was another burial ground too, because this is weird. I don't even understand this stuff. There's a QR code on this weird movie that everybody keeps talking about. When you go to the QR code, it takes you to an old abandoned amusement park over in New York or someplace over there. It's called something creepy. The whole thing is creepy. And then what's even creepier is like 100 years ago in the newspaper article that it was dug up, and it was an ancient burial, or not an ancient burial ground. It was like a burial ground. It was mostly kids, and that hundreds. It was tons of, and they think that there was like 125 years old or something. And so I don't know. I might even be getting the dates wrong and stuff. But it sounded like, you know, some kind of massacre where they wiped out, like a whole tribe or something. Maybe they took them to a certain place, and these people are tricky, because they can say, well, we're going to help you, we're going to bring you over here, because they got it so confused too over who's the good guy and bad guy. It's all set up, just like how the cops do it. Good cop, bad cop. So they do that in life on us. And so then they can be like, oh, well, we're going to help you, like Red Cross, all these people. And so then they can pull them in. And then really, there's just, it's a big trap. like these facilities that they're showing right now that all have gas chambers leading into all the buildings. It's like, well, I guess that's why you keep them moving. Like nobody stays for long. So hold on. So anyways, well, I'll go back to Honey. Now Honey Boo Boo comes to my mind, which I guess her sister just died of some kind of thing, which sometimes I think that they make these people, you know, like, we need someone to die, your family member's gonna die, or we're gonna take something away from you or something. Like, I think weird shit goes on like that. But anyway, because they need this, they need certain things, they create this stuff. And I'll tell you what's so weird too is I went on there all yesterday looking for something about the money or something about, and they're making sure that's not getting talked about. I didn't find a news clip, nothing. And then this morning too, when I've gone on, and there's nothing. So if we have to see how this BRICS thing's gonna affect us. They're trying to hide it for sure, because there's nothing, no news talking about it or anything. And so I don't know. I had heard before that when they stopped doing the money with the oil, that then our oil is going to go real expensive, because now we don't have anything to trade. We got to buy this stuff, and the dollar doesn't have any value, and they've outsourced everything. And so you know, and however slow they drag this, I don't fucking know. And so they outsource it, and so then, you know, we'll stop having supplies, and so things won't get to stores. And then plus they've got all these trucks that keep getting in these big giant wrecks, because they've got the roads, they're doing it on purpose. They're making these roads super slippery, they're making them super icy. I think that they're trying to cause there to be a lot of trucks that break down. I think that they're messing with the railway lines and stuff. They're trying to create it where we can't move stuff around, and our dependency will become, you know, a rearing fire in our face. And so I don't know how far into it we have to go. Like, there's so much shit that has to go down. So, but the way it's just so slow, man. But if any of that stuff, if they stop, because we can't buy anything, but I see, it seems like they were going to do something faster to me. Like, there's too much going with Joe. Like, I think they'll be a part of, you know, because you got the whole Mr. Z over there telling us that we need to just give them some money. Doesn't matter if we're in debt, just go ahead and give them some money anyways, just lend it to them. It's like, how they, you know, we're in debt how many $1 trillion, but we'll borrow some more to give to you. Like that. Like, this whole little laundry system that they've got going is so absurd. But, you know, people have to stop and listen, and then they keep them all distracted with whose flag are you flying. It can be many assorted flags. They're all in opposition. So it's a clusterfuck of people's anger. But that's one reason why the lights have to come on. But that's going to send a whole new wave in of anger and stuff. But it's also going to, there'll be another shift, just like there just keeps being these shifts. And I think that these solar flashes and stuff bring in these waves of change. There's so many people when they come in that they are just a wreck. Like, my daughter is total wreck, and a lot of people, because she'll be talking like about all these different people at work, and all these different people, and everybody is having these issues. And I keep trying to tell her, you know, this is the universe is pushing you out from one thing that's not working for you. You know, you see, this isn't the lifestyle you want. You're sad, and it's not fulfilling. And then, you know, she works for trying to help families and stuff. And the bureaucracy, the red tape, the misspending of funds is really, you know, eating her up. She can't stand it. It's making her sick. And it's making her angry at the people who are doing it, which that is a part of the soul, you know, the soul coming out of, you know, you can't get away from it. is, and it's where your integrity lies. It's where, you know, a lot of good things, a lot of positive things that, so, but when you're all caught up in the negativity, then, you know, positive can feel very uncomfortable. Like that's part of the awakening and stuff, you know. People just look at you like you're crazy. It's like everybody else is over here living in the dark, angry, and just going to the bar to get drunk so then they can make it through another week. I just saw another horrible story too on that. Like, it's so crazy because everything has to play out. But this woman is like 53. I went to see how many followers she had, and she had like 15,000 because they were doing a meet and greet or something. She was going to Florida, and there was other people who were going to come and meet her there. But she's not going now because her friend was in town or something, and they were partying. It was Saturday night, and they were having some beers and White Claws, just enough to put down their inhibitions. And some people called and said, hey, you want to party? And they were like, and this woman's 53, so she wanted to make sure people knew she's 53. This isn't just happening to kids. And these people, they said, no, we've been drinking. So the people said, well, we'll just come over to your house. And so a group of people or a couple of people came over, and they asked them if they wanted to do some kind of, I don't know if they ate something, sniffed something. She didn't say what it was, but they told her it was a beginner's dose. It was real, no big deal. You know, like, oh, you won't even feel it. And within 15 minutes, she's puking. Her friend has fallen, crashed her face, broke her nose. She just gets surgery. She's got 2 black eyes, a broken nose, something with her chin and stuff, and she has to get surgery. The other girl, she passed out and started puking. They started smacking her in the face so much that she's got bruise on the side of her face. And one girl started yelling at the person who gave them the stuff and said, why do you do this to people? So, you know, they did it on purpose. The one girl got to 911 and called, and they got rescued and stuff, and had to go to the hospital. And then she felt so bad because her kids had to be called in the middle of the night because her mom's been brought in overdosing on some kind of drugs, and she took them on purpose. And I don't know, it was a big old thing. And so she was, you know, crying, upset she's going to leave her account for a while. Her friend's got to get surgery. She needs to spend time in reflection because stuff like that brings up a lot of stuff, you know, a lot of different things. But all these things, like I said, everything is going to be playing out, and all different things are going to be what gets people to stop and think and look at things different. Like, man, it's wild. It's just wild because the one lady who's all into Lucifer, then she had started turning the religion. Then she started turning into not religion. Then it was all this Yahshua and the Bible's lying. And then she was making all those people mad. Like, she was moving through the friend groups quick, because then she would do these videos all day long, yelling back at the people. And she went in and she got lashes and nails. So she's turned from this like natural, more mountain lady, and now she's getting all like, she's getting what those things, dreadlocks. She's buying different clothes. For a while, she just kept wearing a hood and walking around with a candle like a witch. I think she says she's a witch now too. She's like covering everything. There's a lot of people who seem to be covering everything. Like these spiritual people who grab their Bibles out. Like, it's wild. This lady, she does tarot. She's always got these charms on her head. She's always Miss Guru. She's always trying to say this stuff, and then she'll pull out her Bible and stuff. I was like, oh my God, this is wild. And I don't want to judge anybody, but it's wild to watch. Like, this is happening. This is wild. And so this one lady, then all of a sudden is where I started seeing her just keep talking about Lucifer and Lord Lucifer, and then them touching and him scratching her and stuff. But now he plays games like take her somewhere and get her lost or something. Like, I don't even know. Sometimes he just pulls away from her and does it on purpose, and she'll start crying. Like, some of these videos, it's like, oh my gosh. Like, oh my gosh. I don't know. I don't know when she wakes up, you know. Like she's really gone through it. Like people are constantly all day long, telling her, have you lost it? And she's acting like she's total in some kind of spiritual psychosis. And then the one lady who's all bold glamour, now she's like, I mean, she's doing this hair thing. She's getting these low cut shirts. She's getting all like, it just keeps going more and more. It's like you're creating this persona to go with this filter, but then her Sam Kinison pops out like, where it's like, this doesn't match. Like, you're trying to look all glamorous and talk all, and then all of a sudden, your street thug comes out, and you start changing the way you talk and the way you act, and man, she can be vicious on, ridiculing and putting people down. It's like, and then, put on her soft side and say that she is just trying to help people, and she's so loving. It's like, man, you just don't recognize how divisive you are. It's one girl too, she's really pretty. I've talked to her a few times, and she's always on about relationships and stuff. And then she seems to be, it's wild, is because I see so many of these girls who are really pretty, but they have to, put on a low cut shirt or a tank top and get a seductive pose and go in and do a video so that they can have reassurance all day long. So people will come in and tell them, and I have definitely noticed, like even when my mom sent me those pictures, and I was looking back at my young self and thinking like, oh my gosh, I was so hard on, when you're looking at your own young self, I'm so hard on you. Oh my gosh. I just would look at everything I didn't like, and it would just eat at me and eat at me. And then you start comparing yourself to other people and think, oh, well, their face is better. But really, all of our faces has a certain thing, how everything fits together to make us. And so we start, changing us, just like putting these stupid plastic things on my chest. We change us to try and fit in or feel better about ourselves, when really it's just about accepting ourselves and stop focusing on what we don't like about ourselves and start appreciating other sides of ourselves and seeing that there's more to us. And then when you start focusing on everything you are, then you just start liking yourself, and it changes your attitude towards yourself. And so there is, like, social media has brought that side out in people. I used to see that years and years ago, like on Facebook, these girls that just all day long have to take pictures of themselves and put them on so people will come on and say, oh, you're so pretty, you're so pretty. And that's how they got these influencers and stuff, all based on stupid shit like that. Oh, they think you're pretty, so you could sell this to them, and these girls who all get all caught up into this influencer stuff, and they want to just tell you every little thing, show you what they're doing right now, what they're going to wear, how they're going to fix their hair. Oh, let's get ready together, and just all this stuff. It's like, where do you want society to go? How do you see this all playing out? Like, these people are all just caught up in selfishness and ignorance and worldly desires, like, wanting to be famous and noticed for being pretty. But then the thing is somebody could tell you you're pretty all day long, and if you don't feel pretty on the inside, it just is a confusion. And why it's so important for people to work on what's on the inside. Just like coming in a pretty face is the same kind of things. It's lessons, just like having lack or having money. It's all about lessons. People think it's all about these certain things, like being rich and beautiful would make your life happy. But you can go talk to a lot of beautiful people, a lot of rich people, and they'll tell you, no, it is, you have to change the inside. And then when you get some of these things, it even makes it stand out more. What you don't have is that, you don't have peace. You don't feel, and then so many people, like, they don't have that surrender to the ride. And so many people, they just want to control it. And that is, it leads to so much frustration because it's not controllable. It's so much and I can't even believe, like, anybody who's questioning that and thinking, well, we create this. Okay, then things would be very different, because you have a huge group that has a letter, that has a huge group, or there was even recipes written out about what was going to happen. A huge amount of people focused on these things happening as what leads to their disappointment, because this shit doesn't happen when they think it's going to happen. So then they're all disappointed because we don't have that kind of control. It's not, that is not, I mean, these people who keep trying to say, like, you're creating your reality. It's like, you don't understand what creating your reality is. You're creating your reality, like what I'm saying, is how you look at things. If you're always chasing something, if you're always ridiculing yourself, if you're always looking at the negative, then you're creating your reality. But this overall ride that we're on, we can all sit there and focus. And you have all these people sitting there saying that, that's what all the predictive programming, and they're telling us, because then we're making it happen. It's like, that's not how it works. And my understanding how it works is destiny. You come on to the ride. The ride's going. You have people you meet along the way that help you grow and help you get prepared for your journey, where you're going, where you're headed. And then, but in this game, the distraction, the thing that's hard is the distraction is always pulling you in some other way that keeps you off center, so that you don't work on yourself. And then you have these people who start chasing something, and then you have these people telling you that you have control over things you don't have control. And if you don't have control over it, you're failing, you're not doing it right. It's like, you guys are all looking at this shit so weird. It's not the way it is. You're on a ride of destiny. Everything is, it's like the pattern is set. It's like, we're trying to change a snowflake's design or something. The snowflake is the snowflake. That's the design of the snowflake. Whatever snowflake we're on, that's the design of it. It isn't, we can't go in and all of us, let's all change the snowflake. No, we're coming in to experience the snowflake. What that snowflake has to offer. The experience that is trying to share with us. We're coming in to experience it. And it all depends on how you look at things, is how you feel. It all has to do with what you focus on. Becomes your reality. And awakening just is so multi-layered. There's just so much going on with it. But, in the overall, game of life, that there is, it's a destiny. It's a set flake. It's, it's already set. You're going in at different places to experience different parts of it. And so the ride is set. And these people who keep telling people, like, even where the predictive programming or whatever, they're literally programming people. They're putting up scenarios and programming people's reactions. They're setting them out in movies. And at the same time, they're also using it as their disclosure. They're showing us things. And then, but the people don't realize it because it's masked under entertainment. And so they think they're being entertained, like mindless entertainment. And they are just being programmed so that they react in the ways that the controllers want people to act. And to me, that is so clear. It's so obvious. But so you have these people who think like they're telling us to think a certain way so that we will make it happen or something. It's like you're programmed. You're programmed. And then you even get caught up in this other, where they've shifted and now they're not going to categorize these other people as human because now they've got a new additive in them. And which I'm sure, you know, if we went in and saw how we were all categorized, I'm sure, you know, people would be surprised, you know, because we're just categories, you know. I'm sure, and I'm sure it's all tracked and stuff with our blood and DNA and stuff. Like, it's, I don't know. Like, they call, you know, some of us with no culture, American white people, you know, white people. But they would have us categorized as something different. That's just like the slang to get us to divide on. So, you know, we're all products of this environment. That's the way it's supposed to be. You know, that's why we've got to come together on this level of the truth of what is real, but people keep fracturing and focusing on the parts that aren't real, which, you know, shows on one aspect that their soul is just not ready, that they're still in another place in the game. Like, I don't know. We'll see how it keeps going. But I think that there's going to be, you know, I know there's going to be some event. It's going to really turn things. It's going to really rock things. But there's going to be a lot of people who are still going to be leaving. So, you know, there's still a lot of stuff that's got to go down. And some people, there can still be like whole places that will leave in big storms and stuff. Because the storms are really rocking and rolling things, man. There's lots of storms going on and lots of devastation, which is so weird how this movie and how these people are so caught up in it. It's like, they're not even talking anything about the storms. They're not even talking about all these people losing their homes, being out where they don't have protection. These storms come in, and how it is creating a civilization of people. Like, we would have to go back and all live in caves. Like, we got to come together. They're trying to control and contain us and move us into a smaller cage. And, you know, people need to go the other direction. You don't go towards them for resources. You go towards independence. So, you know, it's just a whole thing. And people have to see it inside themselves. You start telling them stuff, and they just think you sound like some sort of paranoid nut, because then that's what their programming is telling them. They're running that program right now on the news and stuff, and calling us nuts and stuff like that. And it just gets really wild, because it's like people are doing this to their family members, their moms, their dads, their grandpas, their grandmas, and they don't realize that they're running a program, and that they're going to be embarrassed for their attitude. They're going to feel bad for how they've acted. And that's why I'm always like, you got to be mindful of how you act, because that's what will haunt you. That's what you'll feel bad about, is the way you acted, like your reaction. And then you just have so many of these people just misleading people and telling them things like, and the whole thing with manifesting is different than what they say. So to me, you know, it's you're on the snowflake, you're on the ride. It's a set snowflake. We're not going in and changing it. We're going in and experiencing the snowflake. And that's another thing. All these people are just constantly, you know, are trying to control the energy. And it's like you're not in harmony with it. So a spiritual person works on harmony, harmonizing, becoming in balance, going with the flow. These people are all trying to control the flow and telling you that you're not doing it right if you don't control it. They are all trying to wave their dicks in the universe's face. There's a lot of people who think they're so awake and so super spiritual. I think that they're going to be slapped back down. And the universe is going to show them, like, you know, you're a whole lot of talk. So, you know, we'll see. Like, there's a lot of shit that's going to be playing out. And there's so much that's playing out right now, so much with these court cases and stuff going. And so many things changing. And so, and it's all going to go faster, 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 which is going to be so overwhelming to the people who are, you know, just caught up in all this stuff. And it's overwhelming. Because my daughter, and the one daughter, they've been losing a lot of stuff and everything. And, you know, like lost a car. I think they're right on the verge. Like, there's a lot of people who are on the verge of, they can't pay their rents and stuff. And, I'm refusing to pay mine because of the court orders and stuff. So I'm, just going with the flow with the universe and following my integrity and just, just trusting whatever's going to happen is supposed to happen. My one daughter, who is in total crisis right now, she's like, I think I'm just going to have to come and stay with you for a while. And I'm like, you can come stay with me for a while. She's like, I'm going to probably have to come in a couple of weeks. I said, well, a lot can happen in a couple of weeks. You really focus on what it is you want. Don't focus on, things that you think you have to do, like you're stuck having to do that. When you go to bed at night, focus on what you want, let your dream come true. Don't focus on, well, I'm going to be stuck doing that. I'm going to be stuck over there and all that. And then she, of course, is like, how close is the bank to taking your house? Like, is this going to be a problem? And I'm like, they say they're going to take it in March, but I don't think that they are. They don't understand this fight that I'm in for human rights, for going against the bankers and, saying, yeah, you want to take my house? Well, I trust the universe. I'll have another one. It'll be better. And I also know if they come and take it, that is, this area is going to be gone. Like that it would be the universe just gently moving me somewhere else. So I'm just going with the flow and seeing what happens. But I'm prepared for the next phase. That's what I keep telling my kids. Like, I'm prepared. When the banks go down, I'm going to be able to go someplace and get a place wherever I want to get. And get a little farm or something. I'm going to be ready, and all these things. The prices are going to crash. The hedge fund things, like that's a big court thing, that they can't do these LLCs and stuff. That's why I was saying that the corruption behind the realtors and all that stuff, this is going to take down realtors and everything, because it was like so much corruption going to inflate the prices of the houses. There's going to be so many lawsuits. There's already lawsuits going against realtors because of the percentage. People are doing lawsuits to get that money back, which the whole thing is going to just collapse at all. Like, everything is going to collapse. There's not going to be, where we're going to be getting money from these people. Like, it's all more of the show to get people to see, to get people to wake up, to get people to question things and start understanding things on a different level. Like, you mean they're doing stuff wrong? You mean they're being illegal? You mean, because there's people who think that all this is happening naturally because something with time and things just get more expensive. No, they're doing all of this on purpose to make us more poor, more distraught, more hopeless, more helpless, more can't get ahead. People can't go on vacations. They can't do anything. They can't live their lives. Their whole lives are just struggle. And that's how they want it, because then you run and you take all the magic pills that they offer. And that's where they make all their money. They put fucking poison and shit on our food to make sure that we're sick, to make sure you have endocrine disruptors, to make sure that you have everything to put your emotions in whacked out. And these chemicals and stuff that they're putting in us does all of that stuff. And it's wild. Like, and see, when they were doing all that stuff without people even knowing, and then telling them, well, you're sick because of this, you're sick because of that. And not, and tricking people. Like, people believe it. They don't stop and think about the environment and what's going on and what they're consuming and stuff. They believe this bullshit. And so it's all part of the awakening. It's all like, some people are going to wake up to medical tyranny, and some people, like, everybody's going to wake up to all different things. And a lot of people are going to be in the mouth of the beast when the lights come on. And it's going to be like, fuck, that was close call, man. I was going to start chemo next week. It's going to be intense stuff that is, people wake up to. And so then, and it all, nobody is doing anything the wrong way. Like, just think of how stuff comes to you. The information and stuff comes to you. People show up in your feed that you've never even seen before, that all of a sudden says something that you needed to hear right then. The universe, everything is very closely knit. It's all in perfect timing. And there's no accidents. There's no chaos to any of this. And that's, part of it too, where people are trying to fight their own destinies. They're trying to create their own destiny. It's like you got to get in motion with your ride. It's already got its own thing going. So with my daughter and stuff, just trying to tell her to be positive, like, but she wants to, she wants to leave. She just wants to change so many things. And I think, everybody's soul is pushing them into sovereignty. I don't know what else to call it. Into you figuring you out and being sure of yourself. And I'm being tested all the time. Like, it's crazy. So yesterday when the state person called, then they said that, first my daughter talked to him and she said, well, it's not exactly the way that you think. And so I was like, well, what do you mean? And so then the guy called me, and so he was explaining it to me, and it seemed a little different than what he was saying, the next day. So I don't know, but anyways, the crisis center, you only get a few days, and the crisis center seems to be more set up for people who are already heavy in the system. They've already got, they're on a lot of meds, got doctors, so that they can just kind of tweak things to get people back functioning. And so when somebody comes who's really in a crisis, then it's like, how did this happen? And I mean, he made it clear too, to me, like, this is the worst place that she should be, is at my house. Like, why in the world did she leave Spokane and then come out like this? It's like, I don't know. She just called and she told me that she was in a crisis. She had to get out of town and ask if she could come back. And then once she got here, it just went into like, what the hell? This is like a real crisis. Like, this is literally someone falling apart. And she wasn't doing that on the phone. I mean, she was crying, but it seemed like teenage drama. I didn't know for sure what was going on. And every time she would try and talk, she would have people around and stuff. And she would just be like, she just needed to come. She just needed to come. So anyways, lesson here. And then, so she comes in and she's in a total crisis. She can't sleep. She's falling apart. And, and then when you start telling someone, well, they need to go to the hospital, they get very defensive and upset and angry, and, you're judging them and stuff. They get real defensive. And so then it was like this battle I'm having, trying to tell this person. And it was just like a roller coaster of her emotions, like she would withdraw, and then, you can only withdraw so long before you explode out. As you got to, maintain your energy level. You got to pull it all into balance. You got to see your needs and take care of yourself. And when you are just in crisis, you are lost in there. And so this guy was saying, for her to come out, like, away from all her resources and way out here, away from people, away from jobs, away from, is like the worst thing for a depressed person. It's like, and to me, I wasn't depressed. I mean, once the quarantine went down, I didn't get depressed. At 2020, it was kind of fun because there were so many people who were on live all day long, and there'd be these big conversations. I was like, tons of people were talking, and it was, very interactive, and I was learning a lot. I was seeing a lot. I was a whole new group of people I was listening to, and it was giving me a whole new view of all these different things. So I was learning a lot during that time. And so so anyways, I wasn't depressed to come out here, but I did feel like the isolated and stuff, and that has been rough at times. But I would try and say that, but she was so desperate to hang on. And I think it is something probably just with my energy, because, the things I would say would just make her feel worse. And then I say such weird things and stuff. and it would just be confusing. So anyways, I knew she needed more, but you know, you can only push somebody so far. I mean, somebody has to want that help. And then for the past few days where she was really, you know, losing it, and then she would say she needed to go to the hospital, but then she would withdraw and get scared. I think she kept being scared they were going to, you know, keep her. And that's a huge fear to her. And and I did find out that she did have I mean, because she's been in the system for a while, and at one point they did put her in a place, and they did make her stay a year. And apparently the first part of it was really hard, but then once she got in the groove of it, she was like the top. She was like doing great. And then as she got out, it was during quarantine. And when she got out, they hadn't worked with her folks at all, her mom and her family. They hadn't worked with them at all. So she got out and she was doing really good and sent back there, and it just went really bad. And so that, I don't know, I think that confuses her too. Like, she was doing good, and then, but now to me, it's like, this is your second chance. And so the guy had said first that they were going to be keeping her. He told me certain words I had to say, that, you know, I did not feel like I didn't feel safe. It was like I didn't feel, well, kind of like say, I don't feel safe because she's in a critical state, and she can't come back here until, you know, she's stable. And so it's kind of like cut off any place for her to go. And then they were like, well, we don't know what her reaction. She can still turn around and say she's leaving anyways. And that at first they were saying they were going to make her stay. And so I don't know then if it has to do with placements and stuff too. Like, I don't know all of the red tape and all of the stuff. So they were having her they wanted me to say this, you know, that she can't come back here, which I knew was going to be breaking her heart. But then it's like, I have to do what's right for her, not what's right for me. Like, I don't want to be somebody who goes back on my word or is, but I'm trying to tell her all the positive things. And she talked to my daughter yesterday, and my daughter told her all these positive things about, you know, this, because this is what she wanted. Like a year ago, she wanted this kind of situation. But, you know, change is hard. And, you know, but where, you know, because it's like you get to live independently, but it's also, you have everything there available. So it's not so scary. And you have people who help you. You have all your meals provided and stuff. And then there's like this stepping down to more independence, where you can have an apartment and you can live more independently. And you're right close to where jobs are, all your doctors and stuff. So it's really, seems really cool. And the place is like on a lake. It seems really cool. It seems like, man, this is exactly what you want. And it's way better than being at my house, but I have to still go and, you know, you can't come back here, which is hard. But I'm glad that she's being more receptive, where she's, you know, putting her guard down and saying, yeah, I think I'm going to stay. So we'll see what today brings, because, like, I know, you know, she's an emotional roller coaster, and she has a lot of dark energy that feeds her, a lot of negative messaging. And so I think that wears on her and stuff, and it just keeps her in an emotional battle. So important for people to recognize the dark energy that they've got attached to them and push it off. You got to start talking back to it and push it out of your head, and stop letting its messages interfere with your life. And so she has so what, I guess it seems that they can keep her at the crisis place, and then either they can send her to the hospital to get her stable, or then after that send her back to the crisis center. But somehow this is leading into placement into this place, so it helps her get into this place. It's you know, it seems like a really nice place, but I don't know. I mean, all these different places have staff and stuff, and, you know, I want to pull out of Western medicine. So, you know, I'm trying to get her on that kind of thing, but, you know, she's not anywhere near that or ready for that. And that would be me in my own ego and stuff, trying to force her to do something she's not ready for, and then you keep trying to convince her, no, you got to get off medical, you got to get off Western medicine, it's going to all collapse. It's like, you know, I can't force somebody and end up making them feel worse, you know. So, you know, this will be, well, just go see. There's so many things, like everything is collapsing, but it's so slow. You know, maybe she will get like 6 or 8 months there, and that will be the best thing that ever happened, and she'll really be able to become more independent. And the thing about being independent is it's the view of oneself. It's the confidence. It's the you know, like she can't use her voice and stuff. She can't speak up for herself. She's like a turtle who's in their shell, and she's scared to come out of her shell. It's like every time she came out of her shell, somebody stomped on her and hurt her. And so she closes herself off and stays tight in her shell. And so the more that people can learn to trust and heal and let go of their past trauma, then the more that they can come out of their shell as a new reflective version of themselves. You know, isn't a reflection of your pain anymore. It's a reflection of your champion, your healing, the goddess, the god that you are. You know, you transmuted, you changed what was there into something positive, and that will make you feel good about yourself. And so then you go out into the world feeling confident, more self-assured, more defined of who you are. And so, you know, that creates the independence. Like, you want to do things for yourself. You know, you can do it better than anybody else. You know, anybody can do what they need better than anybody else. It's like, you know what you need. And when we rely on other people to meet our needs, then you can see it's like it's a setup. We're setting ourselves up and we're setting them up, because nobody can meet your needs. Nobody can make you feel better. And when something is bothering you and you feel bad, you got to go out and find what it is that you need, what it is that will make you feel better, how to get yourself out of the rut or whatever. So anyways, the drama with all of that is still going, but the guy was telling me, he told me this is going to be hard. It's going to be emotional. And he said, but you got to really stick to this. It's like we're closing her in, even though to her, like a wild stallion is going to feel like they're trying to suffocate me, control me, and take me over. But really, everybody's trying to just get her to where she can get to a way to get to live safely. Because, you know, how she is living it's so self-destructive and so painful. You know, it sends you into a crisis that you don't know how to get out of. And so, anyways, you know, and, you know, she's really doing good to me. I mean, she's being sober. She's really having to face things, but she just is stuck. She just is stuck in that space. It's like they've created a dark space in her head that is just a party of beating her down, and she's still stuck in there somehow. And you know, hopefully like some psychiatrist or something can help her find her way out of there. The only thing that always gets me is that it's just so Western medicine, and they don't add in the truth or spirituality. It's all just this controlled way that is, it's not the most positive. But she has definitely had me, you know, say a lot of stuff to her. So she's got a lot of seeds planted, but everybody's on their own journey, you know. So, you know, nobody knows what anybody's end is. Nobody knows. I mean, we don't even know what our own end is, you know. So everybody, it's just very much as, you know, just hope for the best and watch what happens and see. I mean, there's a lot, because they're saying, I mean, there's a divide with the whole thing with the military. Like, there's a whole thing going on with that too. And Then there's a whole thing going where they're saying that we're gonna have the power's gonna go out sometime this weekend or today, and I don't know, with the solar flashes and solar flares and stuff. The solar flares are getting people so sad and overwhelmed, and it's just bringing up a lot of stuff. Like, it's weird, because there is like this one side that just seems like it's going deeper into that they're not even noticing. And in Florida, there's still being footage of this split sky, and because everything is splitting. There's there's other things too, where people watch the pole shifts, and and the sun and the moon and stuff aren't in the right place, but everything is shifting, everything is falling apart, and it's and that's another thing too, is that our energy is the creator of this stuff, but it's already set. And so these things are playing out so we can see, so we can experience them. But it's already set. It's like it already happened. And now it's like we're in the replay. We're in the slowed down version. So there's like a thought happened, and then we're going into that thought to play a part, to actually see and experience the whole entire creation of a reality. And this is the falling apart in the transition in the creation of a new reality. And then when you try and tell people that, and they just think it sounds so wacky, like there's so many things, like my kids can't imagine, like, there wouldn't be debt, like they don't, how in the world could that be? Even with my mom, though, like, people can't imagine that we would be able to live just like humans, like people who are off tribes or something. It's like, well, we bought into the chase, we bought into a reality that was toxic, and it's fallen apart, and it was based on so many criminals, all of these criminals that were just taking from us, and they would tell us that they could, and so we believed them. It's like, well, that was against God's law. So you can't just take and take and take from other people. It puts everything out of balance. So that's why it's like a storm, and all these different people playing all these different roles, and all this stuff has to be purged out. But it always had happened. It had always happened, and it was always going to happen the way it's going to happen. It's just wherever you stop and look, is you're getting that moment in time to see how it happened, when it happened, or whatever. So it's all set, though. It's all happening the way it's going to happen. And so, our futures are already written. Whatever is going to be is going to be. And there's no reason to fight it and to get frustrated. It's like out of our hands. And, just remembering, too, that it's really a split second. It's just, we're in the replay. We're in the slow version. So, but it's really just an instant. It's just a thought. And that's, another thing why it's important to not just get so caught up in the story. It's just like, it's like you try or make one dream you had in your whole life have more value than all the other dreams. It doesn't make any sense. But people get so caught up in it because it's like the slow down version. And it is also like this video game, because it has challenges, and you level up through the challenges. Like, I know this stuff going with her and stuff is part of my challenges, because I had spent so much of my life not being, even if I didn't want to do something, I would do something if it would help somebody else. So even if I didn't want to, I would think, well, their need, they are having a hard time, it's worse for them, I'll be fine. And so I would put myself aside all the time to help somebody else. And, I got screwed over a lot of times from doing that. And, but, I wouldn't become revengeful or vindictive. I always knew, like, well, it's my lesson, or the universe will handle it. It's not anything that I need to worry about. It's just to be more aware of myself and see. But every situation that would always come, every time I would always put the other person first because I would always feel like they were in a bigger crisis. I mean, that was even having me staying married to this person who would be so, the last husband, all of them, I swear, it would be so chaotic and stuff. But then I would always feel like, oh, well, they just have such a hard time. They just struggle. I'll be fine. And I try and look at the positive things. Well, I mean, it drives me around. I don't have to worry about this or that, And, when you like to be social, but that was one thing, is like, I want to go out and go dancing. He wants to go out and get drunk. And then as soon as he goes out, and then he doesn't care where we go. He doesn't care about if we go to a dance place, go any place where it sells alcohol. And then he would always go off and talk to, it would always be some guy. Always. It would always be like, I'm pretty sure you prefer men. Like, I think that you need to come to terms with this side of yourself, because it's weird. And, but anyways, he would always fight that. And, people fight their own selves. They fight, and then they are angry at other people, and then they get angry at other people for even noticing things and tell you that you're wrong and stuff. It's like, I think that you're not in touch with yourself. You're not living your truth. You're not being real. Everybody's got to face these sides of themselves, because, you have sides of yourself that want to be seen, that want to express, that want to feel. And people block these sides of themselves in order to be acceptable, in order to have people like them, in order to be friends. But, so for me right now, to have, where it wasn't just one time, well, okay, I got through that, because it was keeping me up and stuff. And like having these conversations in my head, I'm sending her telepathy, like I'm all this stuff. And I know that she can hear it, because she can fucking hear, like, without me even trying. It's like she's so tuned in. She, she's very tapped in. Like, and that's where, people can become paranoid schizophrenic. And it's very much where people have to maintain the manner. Like, you got to really see what's going on, especially when you've got so much business up in here, so much activity, and you can hear and you can tap into people's feelings and thoughts and stuff so easy. And that can be overwhelming, if you're just picking up on all this. And those people will always pick up on the judgment towards themselves, but they don't realize how they're the ones coming across. They're coming across like uneasy, staring at people, not talking, making people feel uncomfortable. So then people start putting out that feeling comfortable. And then the people who are doing that pick up on it, and it gives them a confirmation. See, nobody likes me. There's something wrong with me. It's like, yeah, but you're doing it to yourself, out of your own suspicion, out of your own self-doubt, out of your own negative feelings towards yourself. So that's why I say you got to be aware of how you talk to yourself, how you treat yourself, how you look at things, and really get out of that mind set that these other people are doing it to you. You got to see you're picking up on what it is you're trying to pick up on. You're doing it to you. They aren't doing it. But, we have a lot of people who do live a life of manipulation and stuff. They don't live their truth. It's very difficult for people to get to their truth and live authentically. And especially it's so set in the programs to please other people. And it's just so weird how that is so part of how people are. They're so lost of their own self-identity. And it gets so caught up in how you think you are, who you helped, what you did to put yourself out and stuff. And really, the healthy way to live is to not put yourself out, not play games, not manipulate, be honest, be authentic, be real. And, those things can be very uncomfortable, because people, especially in a society where everybody's manipulative and manipulating, and nobody's living their truth. Everybody's being fake and phony. Everybody is living in an illusion, not paying attention to what's going on. There's so much fractured out division, I think, over states of consciousness, I think, is the real divide. And, but it all has to work itself out. Like, it all will work itself out. The people who can't get on board will be the people who will fall off. Like, they won't be able to keep going in the game. And it won't surprise me if there's some like big spiritual leaders and stuff like that. It will show who is real and who isn't real. You know, who really is taking care of themselves and healing and in balance, or if they're just living this fake life and tricking people. Because there's people who, I mean, there's girls coming out on their videos saying this spiritual guy who charges a lot of money and stuff, that he's coming in my DMs and saying all this stuff, and he's not the person he's representing, and all these things will keep going and keep blowing up and keep showing. And then the people are going to be showing themselves, you know, this side of themselves, like, you know, bold glamour, getting, there's just multi-layered on that one. This other girl, you know, she wants love and stuff, but you know, you're gonna pull in shallow people when you're just out there trying to market yourself like that. It's like, yeah, when you're just, you know, pretty, and that's what you're just like, oh, I'm a pretty face, and you got all these guys jumping on board because they're shallow. You know, and what you really want is somebody who knows you, who understands you, who cares about you, who has respect for your opinion, you know, that sees you as a valuable person. And that is what, you know, in a shallow society, being pretty or good looking doesn't get you that. People just want to use you. They just want to have somebody who looks good because it makes them feel good. And they don't care about your needs or who you are on the inside. That's more of a problem. And so, you know, you don't want to be with people who are like that. You don't want to draw in, you know, somebody who just looks good. You want to be with somebody who has substance. And so, I don't know, I just see it as not the best way to find somebody with substance is to put yourself out there with, like, you're not having substance. And you know, and I know that people are frustrated and they don't even know how to meet people. Like, the whole thing with all the dating stuff is all just blowing up in every single direction too. And there's people who are legit upset, like, that, you know, they can't just have friends with benefits. They can't, that anybody wants anything from them. It's like, that's the kind of people you're dealing with on those kind of websites and stuff. People who have nothing to give, and you're just giving to them. And people who are doing that, they're hoping for a connection. They're just going about it in the wrong way, but they're hoping to find a connection where, you know, there's a passionate connection, or just like a vibe, like they get each other or something. I just think things are deeper. I think that it is, you know, there's a deepness, like, even where people still, well, you know, I'm only going to go out with people who meet this certain standard, who are healed, who are this way and stuff. Like, we all have our certain standard. Like, yeah, I'm not going to go and hang out with somebody who isn't. But also, I'm not going out and just going through dating. Like, I feel like I know who my person is. I mean, they've come into my dreams. They've come into my life. Their energy is always up in my life. And so I trust that. I trust that, you know, timing, at some point in time, that something will happen. And so to me, it's more focused on, not focused on this person. It's focused, like, in this trust of knowing that the right person will come at the right time. You don't have to go out and shop around and try and see, well, do you fit? Well, do you fit? That still is that, like, are you my mother? Are you the right person? Are you the right person? And it's based on things that aren't real or something. Like, when you are, I don't know, focused on the spirituality side of it, and the vibration side of it, and the universe, and trusting your inner knowing, and the universe has a plan, and it has the timing, and everything is down to the microsecond of, you know, they've got everything planned. And so, I don't know. I don't see it the same. Like, well, I don't know. I mean, they could just be saying that. They could just be. And then plus, even when the other person starts coming into your radar or your orbit, and this other person starts coming in, and for me, I had to, try to learn more about this person because it was so strange to me. And but then through all the different things, I was like, oh my gosh, this person is so much like me. And then, or I could see like we were living like these parallel kind of like there's a lot of stuff that I've seen now where it's like I really trust the universe. Like, you are showing me and bringing me in closer to this different reality, but I have to trust that this reality exists. They don't have to keep going out and trying to dig holes and look for something. Because that's what I feel like. So many people are out there digging holes looking for something. And it to me is like not trusting. It's like you're trying to do the universe's work. When you work on you and you work on making yourself happy and being true to yourself and stuff, then I think it just naturally happens that you pull towards your match, the person who's also on that same vibration, doing that same stuff. And then I also think it's all set. It's all destiny. Like, it was always going to happen the way it's going to happen. And so, anyways, we'll see. There's a lot we'll see when things flip. And it is, to me, it's like we're mid somersault. It's like it's flipping. It's just so slow. But it's like so slow. It is to try and get people to pay attention, to try and get people to see. And then plus, I think if it was going really fast, like people are so overwhelmed. People are so consumed by this energy, and it makes people feel so distraught, so overwhelmed. And then you try and get them to understand, the spiritual thing that's happening, and I don't know, everybody's just got to come awaken to that side. And so, it's just a slow process, I'll tell you, getting people to go through that. Like, as I see people close to me and what they go through. And so I know a lot of people just have that. They're just kind of don't understand the spirit, because even to them, religion was the people who believed in God, and all these other people, they didn't even believe in God. I mean, God's not even real. That's silly. And so they didn't believe in a higher power, a bigger force, and they would just make a reasonable explanation for why things happened. And so then when everything is pulled out from under you, then it's like you have to start seeing, and the magic is being shown everywhere. And a lot of this stuff that's falling apart, it's so that they can bring in the magic so that you can see that there's magic all around you. And so, anyways, we just got to see how this keeps going. But I've got to keep, standing strong, and then in my own mind knowing like this is really what's good for her. And for me to go back on that would be my weakness. There's a lot of different ways, because I said, yeah, I would come back and get you. And now I'm saying, no, I'm not going to come back and get you. And, I said, just trust me, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. And so, having to go back on that, I didn't know it was going to play out like this. I didn't know, when something happens, you just don't know how things are going to go, but there's always a lesson in there. There's always an opportunity for you to show yourself who you are. And so, I have the awareness of that, and then it can be so all-consuming. It can be, like you can't quit thinking about it. You're staying up. Like, how do I really feel about it? Am I being a bitch? Am I not being nice? Like, why am I doing this? Am I doing this because I just want to have my space back? Is it because, you play through all these different things to try and understand yourself and what is your motivation? And, I can just see, this is not good for her. It's definitely not good for me. It's not good for the dog. It's not good for anybody, really. And she has this great opportunity for something that could turn into something really good, but it's always in the receiver. You've got to make the best of things. You've got to turn them into what you want. And it's not like you have control. You were always going to do what you were going to do. And so, you know, I think just you got to follow yourself. Like, I don't know. It's hard to explain because it's like you have to have an awareness of yourself. You have to, you know, slow down, be mindful. But that is a part of it. But you were always going to do what you were going to do. It's not like, you know, that you can stop and make something happen, make it go different if you do something different. It's like, no, it's all going to always happen the way it's going to happen. And it's you getting to like unfold yourself, getting to know yourself, getting to see yourself more clearly and understand yourself more clearly. But definitely is, you know, has been a part of my challenges of being able to stand up to people, to not put other people's feelings out of my own. And it wasn't out of being mean to myself, like I didn't think I deserved things. I just always would feel like I was stronger than the other person, or I could handle it, they couldn't handle it. Like, I mean, it's kind of, you know, it gives you that savior complex too, where, because I mean, really, when it boils down to it, that is, you know, you think they can't handle it, you've got to rescue them even though you don't want to. But there would be definitely people who would put a lot of pressure on, you know, what they need. And I didn't have the ability to turn that off and say, you know, whatever you need, go figure it out then. Go get your shit together. Go get what you need. What are you putting pressure on me about? And so, you know, it's taken me a long time to get to that point. And that's why I said, too, when they come in and they bring you, like, you know, this fragile kitten or something. And then they're like, okay, you got to stand up to this fragile little kitten. Get out, go. I was like, what? It's like, oh, man. But then, you know, they'll show me all these different ways of seeing where it's like, okay, yeah, I completely get it. Like, for me to turn and say, no, come back, like I'm trying to save somebody, then what am I trying to get out of it? Am I trying to make a point? Like, oh, I can tell you how to heal yourself. Like, I can tell you how to heal yourself, but you got to be open to, you got to be in that space. I can't force somebody to heal themselves. I can't make somebody. Like, I can tell you the tools, but you're the one who has to do it. You have to go out and want your life to be different. You have to go out, and even if there's something I say and it doesn't work, to be able to go in for yourself and problem solve, figure out what it is you need, how it is that your mind works, how you look at things so that you can catch yourself and do things differently. It's reprogramming. You're like reprogramming yourself. And so it's, you know, but it's up to the individual. And so, yeah, I can't get caught up in my ego and think like, well, you know, I can help her. I can, you know, do this. She just got to get stable and then bring her back and I'll do it. It's like, no, I don't see that at all. And I see this is almost even where doing that for somebody, then you make them more dependent on you. And I don't need to have somebody more dependent on me. I mean, I know there's people out in the world who that makes them feel good to get people dependent on them. And then, but to me, I don't like that at all. And, but I know it's a comfort for people. You got to have that awareness for yourself to see, you know, am I, you know, needing to save people so I can feel good about myself. And you know, it's going to wear you out. It's going to beat you down. It's not a healthy way to live. So you have to be able to pull free from that and, you know, see what it is that you need. And don't be trying to fix other people's stuff, even when they're trying to pull you in and have you fix it. It's like, then when you start playing that game, going into that role, then you are setting up the narcissist and the savior. Like, the one person is just pulling and pulling and pulling, but you're going to save them. You're going to show them the way and stuff. It's very toxic. And when somebody is in a toxic state, to go into that toxic state with them is not productive. It's like, you have to be strong enough to pull free and say, no, you have to work this out for yourself. And I'm sorry that I can't save you, but you have to go on your journey to save yourself. That's what life is all about, is the journey to save yourself, to find yourself, to become yourself. It's the true you that's inside of you. It's just waiting to come out. And so, but everybody's got to find it. But I can just see so many different toxic kind of behaviors and toxic kind of developments that we create in relationships. They're not productive for either people. When both people turn around and say the other person's the problem. It's once you can start recognizing your patterns, the things that you're doing, that's when you can change it. Is that, like, I can see I could go right into that kind of thing and my life would be hellacious. It would not be how I want to live at all. So I have to step back and go, no, it's not how I want to live. And I want to live differently. So I have to move towards what I want, how I want to live. And knowing that this person, it's way better for her if she can make this other situation work. Like, she's in town, she'll be around other younger people. She can go out and find herself, find a job, develop some other relationships. But all those things are difficult. There's definitely a period of time where you do anything different, you're going to feel completely out of place. You're going to feel scared. You're going to feel overwhelmed. But you got to push through those feelings. Pushing through those feelings will help you develop. It's like nothing develops if you don't go and push and keep moving. It doesn't happen by itself. You have to push through, and that is what develops you. And so it's the journey to you, and a lot of it is uncomfortable. A lot of it is discomfort because you got to do things different. You got to look at things different. You got to act different. And all the things that you've done and your old patterns, those are, most everybody's old patterns are negative and self-destructive and manipulative. They're not positive for themselves or for other people. And, to get yourself to where you don't need others to make you feel better. You don't feel like you need to do things to help other people to make you feel better. Like, you don't need to go around rescuing the world so you can feel like a good person. You can see yourself as a good person, and you can see all sides of yourself. You don't need to hide from parts of yourself. Like, this would be, if I were to take all sides of myself, the side of me that has to stand up and say, no, that is the darker side. That is the side that is the more of the masculine, more the protector. And then I have to see the value of myself in order to protect myself and say that this would not be good for me and I have to do what's right for me. And so it's important, like I've said, to have all these sides of yourself and to not say, oh, that's a bad thing. That's a negative thing. I don't want that to be a part of me. No, you need all these sides of yourself. And when some occurrence happens and this side of you has to come out, that is when you get to see this side of yourself. And to me, you need to spend time in reflection and understand this side of yourself. Is this the side of yourself that you want to put out into the world? What is the motivation? What are you trying to get? Are you trying to hurt people? Are you trying to do something positive? Like, just go in and look at yourself all the time. And, to me, when I was growing up and stuff, people would think I was way too critical, way too analytical. I was always looking at things and paying attention to things that didn't matter, but they did matter to me. They do matter. How we treat each other and how we act and taking responsibility for our own behaviors is important. And that's what, changes the world. It's what makes the world a better place. And because right now we have people with no integrity, no morals, they don't give a shit. All they want is money. They don't care about other people. And man, I'm telling you, I knew that the realtor stuff, that was just standing out to me so much. The realtors, developers and stuff. And to just know how much that they have a part that they play in with the inflation and the corruption. And even when I had said, because that was 30 years ago when I was getting that house in Spokane. So it was already going with the LLCs. When we would go, because the houses were so cheap, And we were leaving Southern California, and houses up there were like $12,000 for a whole fucking house, like a whole house in town. $12,000, $20,000 was a lot. And so there's all these houses that were so cheap, and that's what my husband wanted to go up there. We even borrowed the money to put down to buy a house outright. And so we had the money to buy a house, and we were staying at his brother's, and we would get up every day and we would get the listing of all the houses, and we would try and call realtors and tell them which ones we wanted to go see, and we couldn't go see any of them. They would never let us go see any houses. Everyone, they would say, well, we can't set up an appointment until you get over there and go look at the house. Once you look at it and see if you want to see it, then we'll come. And then you go over there, you drive to it, and you call, and they say, oh, there's already an offer on it. How could there be an offer? We just called, and you said that we couldn't even until we got here. We rushed over here, and now all of a sudden there's an offer. Well, it's these investors. These investors, they're allowed to buy them just without sight unseen. They just get the listing and they just buy all the houses that are for sale. And so that was 30 years ago. So this has been going on a long time. And so now, though, they're busted. Now the courts, because now the courts are going, there's two different court systems. You got the Republic and you got the corporation. And the corporation has all been being taken down little by little by little. And the people that support him are being arrested because they've gone against our rights as humans and stuff. So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. But there's going to be realtors, developers, all these people. It's all, I would say that they'll be on the parts about the money, and because there's so much laundry and so much, it's just so much absurdity. And then when they keep showing this stuff about Joe and stuff, just keep remembering this is to get people to be outraged and stuff like this Christmas thing. Like that is the big thing that everybody's talking about. That movie still, and the Christmas thing. And the Christmas thing is so absurd, over the top. Like everything is like a burlesque show with these people. And it's because, you know, that's what they're showing. It's like they're having to show their real selves, this clown world pervy side of them that was really, you know, it was hidden in the shadows before, but now it's in the light and everybody is seeing, and then everybody's just so outraged. Well, that's what's supposed to happen. It's supposed to go that way. So they're supposed to be outraged, but, you know, just watching them all watch and see and get so mad. And it's like, you got to remind yourself, okay, this is the way it's supposed to go. This is the awakening. They're supposed to go through this. They're supposed to wake up to this. They're supposed to see this. It just is so, sometimes it's so tedious. It's like, oh my God, I cannot believe how slow. So hopefully there's going to be some big things that will hurry up and go. Like, even though the money thing, like I told my daughter yesterday, I said, well, if you're not coming for like a couple of weeks, there's a lot of shit that can go down. You got to be prepared for, you know, I mean, she has that, what are those things called? It's not just electric, or Prius. So she has a Prius. So I think that she would still be able to get around even without gas. But I'm like, you know, there's going to be some shit that's going to be going down that's going to, you know, kind of trap people too in some places. Like all of them are going down there for Christmas together this weekend. I was like, look, if the money thing goes today and goes down, like, you know, they'll be trapped there and won't be able to go because gas station, everything will go down. I mean, when the things start going down, everything's going to go down. Oh, and I had a big old interaction yesterday with USPS and Amazon. And that was another thing, too, where I stood up for myself. I was like, this is bullshit. I even told the Amazon, when I had them on there, I asked for a supervisor, too. I said, is this seriously how you treat your customers? This is what you think of customer service? Because there's plenty of other places, just like, I mean, I didn't say TikTok Shop, but there's other places that do the same thing. I don't have to order from you guys. Now, even on Prime, you have to pay for all the movies. Everything's freebie. So everything you watch, you have to watch with ads. You have to pay for movies. They only have like certain things. You know, Prime has really gone down. And then the 2-day thing, that's ridiculous. And then they're relying on like USPS and UPS and stuff. And when mine switched over to USPS, it just became nonstop fuckery. But this one really pissed me off because I had ordered some vitamin D and some more black seed oil, and I got the dogs these little licky things. And so then I was waiting for the vitamin D to come because I wanted to see how it went with the magnesium. So I was paying like high alert for this package to come. It was supposed to come on the 12th. Said it was out for delivery, and it never came. And so then it said it was out the next day for delivery. And so then, and this happens a lot, so that was like, okay, well, we'll see. And so it didn't come. So then yesterday morning, I called the post office and talked to old TJ. And he said that he was so snotty. He was so put out. Anyways, down here at this post office, you just can't even believe what it's like. It's like, you go to a podunk town post office, it's not at all like a city post office. Not at all. And so he's all irritated. And he's trying to get his computer to come on. He's yelling at other people right into the phone. I'm on the phone and yelling at them, and they're trying to talk to him. And he is just keeps being irritated about, he's got to get his computer up, like, because and he's trying to say stuff to me, like, how dare I, like, it's my fault, like Amazon has put this on them or something. It's like, what the fuck? And so then he is, tells me, well, your package, these things come on pallets. We scan the pallet. That doesn't mean that everything that's in there is on the pallet. I'm like, okay, fucking turn it in, tell Amazon then that the package is lost. And no. And then he goes, oh, well, now, I can see it was scanned. It was scanned here in the office. But, I don't know where, hey, did you see this package where it was going to this one address? Like, you guys have them all the packages out here. You've got them all memorized. And they're like, no. And as a matter of fact, I had like 6 packages delivered. So, but you can't remember delivering any to my house. And so I don't remember seeing that package at all. Well, I'm like, okay, so you need to turn it into Amazon and tell them it's lost so that I can get a replacement. And then they're like, no, we got to do an investigation. We got to investigate what's going on here. So call back in a few hours. I got to talk to the postmaster, call back and, so I call back in a few hours. He's at lunch. So then I got to call back again at 1:30, call him, and he starts telling me his big investigation was he talked to each of the delivery people, and nobody remembers seeing that package, but they all came to the conclusion that they delivered it for sure, but forgot to scan it. And I said, well, you for sure didn't, because I've been out there the whole fucking time, and it didn't come. And he goes, well, it was put in your mailbox. Oh, well, you're real confident now, aren't you? I said, no, it wasn't. I've already been out there twice. It was not put in the mailbox. And I said, if you delivered it somewhere and didn't scan it, you delivered it to the wrong house. Well, no, we didn't. I said, well, yeah, you did. And then he's like, well, no, we delivered it to your house. And I got pissed then. I said, I cannot fucking believe you guys would cover yourselves like this and not just tell Amazon that you lost the package, that you're going to sit here and say this. And he's like, well, you can call back and talk to the postmaster when he gets back in. He'll be here in like a half hour. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. And this is a small town. And, but this is what these people are like up there too. When you go up there, it's some fucking fuckery. And, the one guy, like I've talked about him before, he's just something else. And I'm sure this is probably who I was talking to. And, so I call Amazon. I'm like, well, I'm not going to get nowhere with these fucking fools. So I call Amazon and saying fucking bullshit. It gets somebody in it. It's like quite clear. You're calling a remote location in another country. And so then she starts trying to help me. And then she's going to call the post office. So I said, well, I got the number right here. And she's like, no, I've got the number. I'm like, okay, so you're going to call the 1-800 number? So that's what she did. Called the 1-800 number. She's totally snotty the whole fucking time. Calls the 1-800 number. So gets the master of all the or whatever, the person in the main post office, and who doesn't know shit. And so I'm trying to say all this stuff again, explain it, and so then they just turn in a whole report. So I hope they do go investigate these idiots. But so then Amazon, so the woman takes my report and hangs up. And I'm like, well, is Amazon still there? She never talked to her or anything. And so then I'm sitting there. She comes back on the line because the line was still going. So I'm just sitting there. She comes back on finally. And then I ask her something. She goes, oh, well, honestly, I left the call for a while, so I don't know what she said. I said, so you don't know? So I just need this thing to be said that it's lost so I can get another package sent out. And so I'm having this argument with this lady, and she's telling me, well, I can call back in a couple days, and then they'll check back with the post office. But the post office keeps saying it was delivered. And so that's where I started being like, you know, I'm your customer. You're supposed to have the package here in 2 days. Like, I start going off and saying this stuff, and she didn't even know what to say. And she just would sit there and just not talk. And then I would say, are you going to say anything? Well, I already told you. You can call back on the 16th, and then we'll look into it again. So I said, give me a supervisor. So she just goes and gets one. And the supervisor came, and I said all the stuff to the supervisor. And the supervisor was a lot more like, okay, well, let me see what I can do. I'll get you, this one company will give you a refund. The other ones, the one company will send another one out. So the black seed oil people, they sent another one out. The other two, they said no, that they would give a refund, but they weren't going to send another one out. So I said, well, I won't order from them again. And so she refunded the money for the other two things, and I went and ordered and got the stuff. But it was like, I was like, why in the world would I need to keep this? Why do I need to keep calling back? I'm the one who made the order. I'm the one who got screwed over in all this, because you have these other people deliver who can't freaking do it. And your stuff doesn't get here in the time it's supposed to. Like, that's what your marketing is. It's like, don't turn around and start blaming it on me and saying, like, I'm the one who has to do something. That would just piss me off. And so, anyways, and then anytime, you know, to me, that I stand up to anybody, then I always feel like, oh, God, that was really intense. Like, fuck. Like, oh, maybe you're a total bitch. Well, maybe I am. But fuck. Sometimes you gotta be. Sometimes you gotta stand up for yourself. And, you know, I'm not just sitting there cussing somebody out and, you know, saying rude stuff just to say it. I'm saying the truth. And I'm saying it intense. Like, I'm saying it with passion. I'm saying it like, you definitely be like, God, this lady's a bitch. And, but, you know, it just is irritating. This system is so... It's just fuckery, just nonstop fuckery, man. And but it's all gonna fall apart. Like, even when that was going, I was like, I gotta just let go of this shit. This is a clear sign that to keep ordering is not gonna keep working. I'm gonna keep orders. Everything is just it's pulling apart. So I don't know. I probably will have to still order some stuff, but I got kind of stocked up on everything right now. But fuck. Things drag out again, then it's like, God damn, you go through all your shit and then you got to reorder again. And I just hope to fucking holy hell that this fucking shit with the money ends by the end of this. I hope it ends today. I hope today is the day where the shit goes down. The banks close, the fucking market crashes, and whatever happens, happens. Let's get this fucking party started. Let's see what happens. Let's get to moving on this shit. Like, fuck, man. So anyways, we'll just see how the day goes. But I'm definitely seeing something coming out and saying that the power is going to go out for a few days. And something with the solar flashes and stuff like that. So anyways, we'll see how it goes. And just don't get beat down, because that's what they want you to be. They want it to be like I said, they could be releasing some of these dates just so people get beat down. And so don't get too hung up on the dates. Like, oh, well, now nothing's going to happen. It didn't happen right now, and they said it would, so now it's never going to happen. That's what That's what people keep doing. No, pay attention to what's happening. Even when I was talking to my daughter yesterday, she's like, yeah, well, we can only hope. I'm like, this isn't hope. This shit is happening. Like, this is literally happening. It's happening. It's currently in the process of happening. It just isn't to this one part yet, but it's happening. Like, there's no going back from this. There's no, the banks are going to save themselves and all these other countries are going to go off the gold standard to go back into the banking system. No, this is all happening. This is all, it's changing. The illegal, corrupt bullshit is ending, and we're going into something that is much more productive and positive and harmonious with the planet. And so the money and all that stuff is going to be changing. Our resources, how we get resources, everything is going to be changing. So anyways, just don't get beat down. Like, they want you to be beat down, and then the people being so outraged, like the White House. It is just so, it used to be a place that was supposed to be so classy, and now it's like some sort of pervy burlesque show where you can find cocaine sitting on this counter, and it's just wild. So anyways, it's gonna all implode on itself, and we're all here to watch it. So just keep yourself, I don't know, I feel like everybody's got so much stuff to work on anyways. It's like, if you're working on yourself, like, the universe is constantly, like, I've been doing this healing for a long ass time, and I'm telling you, some of this stuff just gets harder. Like, you get pushed where people are like, well, I've healed and healed and healed, and now this happened, and I'm just completely falling apart. It's like, those are your tests. Those are you can sit there and think, oh, I'm so healed, but what happens when the test comes? What do? Do you, and to me, it's defining yourself. It's making boundaries, looking for places where you're not vulnerable, looking for places where you're being phony and fake. Like, all those things are happening for you. So it's just looking at things in a different way. But anyways, it's up to each person. It's everybody's own perspective. And this is a period of time where perspective is becoming larger, is getting bigger. So anyways, I'm just getting a headache now, sitting here talking. I don't know, I'm getting a headache. Now I want to go get some more tea. And I want to hurry and get this downloaded, and I've been talking a long time. So hopefully I said something of value, and you guys just stay strong and just keep it together through this. Don't get into this spiritual psychosis, this paranoia, any of this stuff. You got to just, keep yourself wherever you can find your viewpoint. If you're looking at everything from a spiritual perspective or whatever, just try and find somewhere to step back and see the bigger purpose in things. And I don't know, I think it makes it a lot easier. So anyways, I'll talk to you tomorrow. If there's power, I'll be here. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.